Flying with meds in 2025? Here's your ultimate no-stress guide to navigating new TSA rules, international regs, and everything in between, so your prescriptions travel as smoothly as you do. In 2025, airport security has leveled up in complexity, and if you're carrying medications or medical gear, you can't afford to wing it. One tiny oversight, a mislabel, a forgotten prescription, or packing the wrong container can delay you at security, force you to toss something important, or worse, leave you stranded without your meds when you need them most. Sounds dramatic? It's not. This is real-life stuff. Seasoned travelers have learned the hard way. But here's the silver lining. With a little planning and the right knowledge, you can glide through TSA like a pro, even with a bag full of meds. The process isn't as scary as it seems, but you do need to understand the new rules. And let me tell you, they're different from what you might remember. The regulations around prescription meds, liquids, injectables, and even medical devices have been updated, and that means you need to stay current to stay confident. What makes this info even more valuable is that it doesn't come from a rule book alone. It's backed by insights from people who've done this hundreds of times. That's right, real-world travel veterans sharing tips that actually work at real airports under real conditions. So you're not just getting a list of do's and don'ts, you're getting practical, field-tested strategies to avoid problems before they start. Whether you're heading out for vacation, a work trip, or even a long-term international stay, knowing how to prep your medications correctly is mission critical. Stick with me, and I'll make sure you know exactly what to pack, what documents to carry, and how to handle security like a seasoned traveler. No stress, no surprises. First, what medications are actually allowed on flights? The answer is reassuring. TSA allows you to bring any FDA-approved prescription medication, whether it's in pill form, liquid, or a topical cream. There's no limit on how much you can bring, and here's a relief. Prescription meds are not subject to the infamous 3-1-1 liquid rule. That means you don't have to squeeze your insulin, eye drops, or prescription creams into a quart-sized bag or keep them under 3.4 ounces. To skip the hassle, just pull your liquid meds out of your bag at security and let the TSA officer know their medications. This quick step ensures they're exempt and keeps your screening smooth. So if you rely on things like insulin, pre-filled injectors like an OmniPen, or prescription creams for chronic conditions, you're covered. TSA also allows cold packs or gel packs to keep your meds at the right temperature, even if they're partially melted. Now, while TSA doesn't strictly require you to keep meds in their original labeled bottles, it's strongly recommended, especially for controlled substances like Adderall or Ambien. Having the pharmacy label with your name, dosage, and prescription details can save you from extra scrutiny or delays at security. Try not to combine different pills into one container. It just creates confusion. And whatever you do, don't check your prescriptions in your luggage unless you absolutely have to. Always keep them in your carry-on so you've got them when you need them. If you're carrying over-the-counter meds, the rules are even more relaxed. You can bring as many OTC pills as you need: Tylenol, Advil, aspirin, you name it. There's no limit, and you don't need a doctor's prescription. Liquid medications for medical purposes also skip the quart-sized bag rule. Just take them out separately and tell the officer they're for medical purposes. Creams and gels like hydrocortisone, antibiotic ointments, or pain relief gels are usually allowed with no issues. If you use skin protectants like Aquaphor for eczema or cracked skin, just let the TSA officer know if they ask. Keep these items separate from your toiletries so it's easier to explain that they're medical related if needed. Most agents won't even blink, but being prepared helps everything go smoother. If you need to travel with a medical device, like an insulin pump, CPAP machine, or syringes, you can absolutely bring them on board. TSA allows most devices like these, and even syringes are fine to carry as long as they're paired with the medication they're meant for, like insulin. You can keep them in your carry-on or check them in, but keeping them in your carry-on is usually the better choice, especially if they're fragile or something you might need during the flight. Some travelers wear devices like a continuous glucose monitor, CGM, or an insulin pump, and others may have metal implants from past surgeries. These can trigger extra screening at the security checkpoint. That's why it helps to give the TSA a heads up as soon as you reach the line. Just say something simple like, "I'm wearing a medical device," or "I've got a metal implant." This lets them know what to expect and helps avoid confusion. If you're wearing an electronic device like a CGM or insulin pump, ask for a hand screening instead of going through the full body scanner or X-ray machines, as these could potentially damage your equipment. TSA agents are trained to offer alternatives like a pat-down. Bringing documentation, like a doctor's note or a card from the device manufacturer, isn't required, but it can be a lifesaver if questions arise, especially if you're flying internationally or passing through a busy U.S. airport. One major thing to watch out for: medical marijuana and CBD products with more than 0.3% THC are completely banned on flights, even if you have a prescription. This applies to both carry-on and checked bags, and for all flights taking off or landing in the U.S. If you're flying internationally, check the security rules of your destination airport too, as some countries may require translated medical documents or have different procedures. If you think you might need extra help at the airport, TSA has a program called TSA Cares. Fill out a short form at least 72 hours before your flight at tsa.gov, and they'll coordinate with you to make things easier. And if you have a hidden disability, consider using a sunflower lanyard to quietly signal that you might need assistance. It's recognized at many major U.S. airports. Though availability varies, give yourself extra time. Security checks with medical devices can take a few extra minutes, especially at busy airports, and a little buffer can make a big difference. Let's talk about how to actually prepare your medications for travel, starting with containers and labeling. For pills and tablets, TSA doesn't require them to be in the original pharmacy bottle, so technically you're allowed to move them into a weekly pill organizer or an unmarked container if that's easier for you. But before you do that, think it through, especially if you're carrying anything that's classified as a controlled substance like Ambien, Vivance, or Adderall. With medications like these, TSA strongly recommends keeping them in their original bottles with clear pharmacy labels. That includes your name, dosage, and prescription details. And it's not just about TSA, it's also about other law enforcement or airport security agencies, especially if you're passing through airports with tighter screening or traveling between states with different medication laws. If you still choose to transfer pills to another container, it's a good idea to bring a copy or even a photo of the original label with you, just in case questions come up at security. For liquid medications, whether they're prescription or over-the-counter, keep them in their original packaging with a visible label. That's what signals to TSA that it's a medical item, and it's what exempts it from the standard 311 liquid rule. No label? It might get flagged as a regular liquid like lotion or shampoo, and you could end up having to toss it. If you're flying internationally, take it a step further. Some countries have stricter rules than the US, and they may require your prescription to be translated into English or even the local language. Always check with the embassy or airport authority of your destination country before you fly, especially if you're bringing anything that's prescription only or controlled. TSA may be flexible with medications, but when it comes to travel, especially long trips or international flights, it pays to be extra prepared. Start by making sure you've got enough medication to cover your entire trip. Then add a little buffer, aim for at least 5 to 7 extra days worth. You never know when a flight might get delayed or your return might get pushed back. If your current supply won't last that long, talk to your doctor or pharmacist ahead of time. Don't wait until the last minute. Some prescriptions, especially controlled substances, can take longer to refill or require extra paperwork. If you're bringing anything that falls under controlled medication, it's a good idea to carry a copy of your prescription and, if possible, a letter from your doctor explaining your need for it. That kind of documentation can smooth things over if questions come up at security. Make sure the name on your prescription matches your ID exactly. Passport, driver's license, whatever you're flying with. Even a small mismatch could cause issues, especially at international borders. If your medication needs to stay cold and you're using gel packs, make sure they're fully frozen before you leave the house. TSA allows them, but they need to be solid when you go through screening. Bring a detailed medication list, not just in your head, but have a printed copy and a digital version saved on your phone. Include the brand and generic names for each medication, your dosage and frequency, any special storage instructions, and the name and contact info of your prescribing doctor. Add your own contact details too, just in case your meds get lost and someone needs to reach you. If your health depends on medication, it's smart to split it up. Keep most of it in your carry-on, but pack a small backup supply in your checked luggage too. That way, even if one bag gets lost, you've still got what you need. Having all of this on hand can make a huge difference, especially if you're flying international. Rules in other countries can be a lot stricter than in the US, and some may confiscate or question medications that are routine back home. Packing your medications before you get to the TSA checkpoint can make or break your airport experience. The golden rule: keep all your meds together in a clear, resealable bag, separate from your toiletries and electronics. This makes it easy to pull them out at security and explain what's what if you're asked. If you use a pill organizer, label each compartment with the medication name and dosage. For liquids, creams, or gels, keep them in their original packaging with the pharmacy label visible. If you're traveling with a medical device, keep it in its own case with any supporting documents handy. TSA agents are trained to recognize medical items, but a little organization goes a long way. If you're traveling with kids or someone who needs help, pack their meds in your personal item, not in a checked bag, and keep a copy of their prescription and a doctor's note if needed. As we wrap up, remember that traveling with medications in 2025 doesn't have to be stressful. The key is preparation, documentation, and clear communication. Know the rules, pack smart, and don't hesitate to speak up at security if you need assistance. Programs like TSA Cares and the Sunflower Lanyard exist to help travelers with medical needs, and most agents want to help you get where you're going safely. Double-check the rules for your destination, especially if you're flying internationally, and always err on the side of caution with controlled substances or anything that might be misunderstood. With these tips, you can travel confidently, knowing your health and peace of mind are protected every step of the way. Safe travels, and if you have any questions or want to share your own experiences, drop them in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more up-to-date travel guides and tips. See you in the next adventure.